Hello, welcome back to Laser Cut and Fly RC Models. I'm the laser model guy. I'm just going to do a very short video because Chorney08 has asked me for the detail on how the wingtips taper because it wasn't perhaps covered off quite well enough in the original video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through how the wingtips are tapered. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that on Lightburn. And just to put it in context, this is the end spar of the wingtip, and you can see it tapers down, but also these are the ribs from where the dihedral is all the way down to the wingtip itself, and they fit onto the wing spar just like this as they go towards the wingtip. So you can see that the shape of this tapers down, and then the wingtip will come round here. So it tapers down this way, it tapers down that way, and I'll show you all of that detail on Lightburn right now. So the construction of the main wing was all covered in the first video of this series, Contestor 1, making the making the aircraft, or making the Lightburn files for the aircraft. But the question I've been asked is about the detail around this end of the wing, or the wingtip, how the wingtip tapers down. Now it tapers in two directions. One is it becomes thinner and goes to almost a rounded point at the end at the wingtip, but it also tapers down in thickness. And if you look at this piece here, so the other thing to look at is where the wingtip dihedral section meets, and how that's thicker. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wing, one of the standard formers for the main wing, which is W2, which goes all the way through the wing. I'm going to take one of those, and I'm going to make alterations to that as we go and show you how I do that, but also I'm going to copy this piece up here and demonstrate how that was done. So to deal with the spar, with the taper on the spar, that's very straightforward. We just go, I always use a layer on this so that I get a different colour when I use the drawing tool. And all I'm going to do is start at this corner, and I'm going to click, go straight to the end, click again, come down, and by doing this we get the spar. Now that spar is now more or less complete. I'm just going to zoom right in and make sure that we're right in the corners with those nodes, and we're not at the moment. So if I just come right in, you can see the blue line there. Let's go to nodes, select our drawing, and we'll pull those out to the outside edge of our spar. And there we are down there. And to this one. Now we notice when we look up here that we come inside a little bit, so there's a slight curve on this drawing in our spar. So all we'll do is we put insert a node by hovering over the line, pressing I, and then we click on that and convert it to a smooth curve node, and we move that to the outside. And then we'll come down, we'll just check and all the way down. Yeah, the blue line is now all, or the top blue line is all inside the original drawing. The bottom line here, I'm not going to touch that. That will remain flat. So it's only this end here where it seems to curve down, and the taper becomes a little bit quicker. Okay, so that's one part of what we're doing complete. So all we would do with that, that's W12, the spar. So if we rotate that round, we'll convert that to layer 1, which will be our cutting layer later on, and all I'm going to do is use our text tool, and I'm going to shrink that down to 4mm, and I'm going to write in W12. When we come off there, we can then convert that to layer 1, which will be our etching layer. So that's how we make that. Bear in mind there are 2 wingtips, so we'll group that first, and then we'll Control C to copy, then Control V to produce another, and now we've got our 2 spars with that nice curve on the top, tapering down and then finishing off at the end there. Okay, so that's the first part of it. So the next thing I want to look at is making these ribs, and they get progressively smaller towards the wingtip. First of all, I'll be making W3, which is the same, more or less the same size and shape as the W2, but with 2 main differences. We've got the spars overlapping here in the middle, and we've also got the dihedral shape at the back, which cuts the back end short. So this main spar here I'm going to do in 5mm, as I explained in the earlier videos. The wingtip spar is going to be 3.2mm, so 1/8 of an inch. So that's going to stay at 3.2, and that'll be at 5. So this gap here to go over the spar, that is going to have to be 8.2mm wide. Now it'll need to be the same height because it's going over the same central spar, and where they both meet there will be the same height. So in order to start this, I'm going to press Control C, copy our W2, then Control V to paste, to replicate it, and then what I'll do is I will take this and ungroup, and then we can remove the name W2. So in order to make this fit, the back end of this opening for the spar is in the same place as for all of the W2s, you can see. So the extra space to accommodate the wingtip spar is going to have to be at the front. So what we'll do is we'll make a shape, and that shape will be 8.2mm wide, 8.2, and it will be, now our spar is 7mm tall, and all of our spar openings are 7.1mm high, or 7.12, and so what I'm going to do is I'll drop this down in height to 7.5, so it's a little bit bigger than that, 7.5, and then what I will do is I will bring it over once I come off making a square tool, and I'm going to put that in. I've lined the back edge up and the top edge just slightly over. just bring that down. Okay, so now from a tip given by Horsley Landy 88, what I'm going to use, because it speeds things up, is a really good tip. What I'm going to do now is use the snipping function rather than nodes, and we're just going to start snipping the bits out that we don't want. And I think, yeah, we can snip that, a little bit of extra line there and snip that. So if we come off there, what we should find now is that we've got our new former, and it's got the right size space for our spars just there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that up, I'm going to flip it round and just lay it alongside the area where it's going to be. Now you can see from this that our gap looks a bit big. That's because this is originally designed for a 3.2mm spar and I've gone with 5mm, so that's why that looks a little unusual. Now if I line the inside point of the bird's mouth with the edge, what would be the edge of the leading edge, or the corner of the leading edge, then that will show me where we have to finish our former. So all I'll do is I'll put a line straight across there, like that, to there, and then we can come off there, whoops, come off there, and then we can use our snipping tool again and just snip that away, come away from there, and then when we bring our former down, we will find it's now the right shape or the right size. To be fair, we've got a little bit of a discrepancy here. I'm just going to square that up so that it's perpendicular. I'll use nodes to do that. So nodes, all I want to do is on that line just bring that in. There we go, that's vertical. Come off there, and so that's how we've made W3. So I'm going to mark that up with text, 5mm high, so that's W3. Come off there, I can assign that to the second layer because that's going to be engraved rather than cut, and now I can group those, and that's how the second one was done. Okay, so next we want W4. Now W4 is the same as W2, only smaller, very slightly smaller. Now it's still got the tail end which we want to sit on top of the former. So all I'm going to, and this of course, this cut for the spar has to reduce to 3.2, and that 3.2 has to sit just here in front of our original cut because it's moved forward, because the other one was back here and this one's up forward. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to turn our thing around, our former around. I'm going to put the bird's mouth right on the leading edge. I'm going to take a corner and I'm just going to shrink it down. Until this back edge here is level with where it would need to be to sit over the trailing edge. Whoops. Let me go a bit closer in so we can get a bit finer, a little bit of finer control over that. There we go. So, so if we look at that now, that would be our former. Now, with us using the diagonal, then we've also reduced the height as well as the length, and that's what we want to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that for now. So that's now the correct height. Let me just ungroup and remove W2 from there. Ungroup. So that's gone. Right, now we need to deal with this. Now I think the best way we could do this is, or the best way for me to show you this, is if we line this spar up with this corner of the joint there, this spar is now where it will be on the wingtip. And what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to have a look at how thick or how tall this needs to be for each of these. So if we look at this, right under W4, the height of our spar is, it's saying 7.38. So that's what we'll do, that's what we'll go with, 7.38. Okay. So we need, best unlock that, we need a box that is, so it needs to be 3.2 wide and 7.3 high. So that is the shape that we need to deal with, or that we need to insert into there. So I think probably our best bet, because we're going from a very large gap to a small one, I think our best bet on this occasion is for us to go to nodes, and we'll just remove that. So we just highlight the nodes and press D, and then we can just flatten that down. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll turn this around, take it straight up there, put it back to where it should be. There we go. It's this back edge I'm concerned with. Our overlap we'll be able to just sand that down, or that will fit nicely. There we go. There. So a little bit of fiddling about is worth doing to get it right. Okay, that line is just sitting on there. Okay, so if we bring up our shape, we can rotate that in. Change the colour of that line, I think. And then all I'm going to do is place that straight over where that. There we go, straight over there. Then coming off there, using our snipping tool, get rid of that, get rid of that. and that should mean that we've now got our W4. So what I'll do is I'll put that to layer 00, which is going to be our cutting layer, and then I'll name it W4. Then I'm going to copy that. Copy, oops, no I'm not, I'm going to group it first. Group, then I'm going to copy, and then V. And this is the one I'm going to use now to make W5. So if we ungroup, I could have actually done this without grouping the other one. I could have made the copy first, which would have saved us 10 seconds or so. And all I'm going to do is repeat that process. Go up here, get the bird's mouth where it wants to be, and then if I scroll in and just shrink that till this line here, this one here, dotted line is just above where we want it to be. Have a look, bird's mouth's in the right place, and it just so happens that our shape has stayed in the right place, our cutout, but the thing to bear in mind is that cutout will now be a little bit smaller. So what we can do with that is we can bring it down, we can we'll measure that. Yeah, it's saying it's 3.05, so the 3.2 wood will be a little bit too big for that. So what we'll do is we'll make our square again. Now the other thing to bear in mind is we want to get the height right. So W5 is going to be over this part here of the spar. So let's measure that. That's going to be 6.9 millimeters. So our little square needs to be 3.2 wide and 6.9 high. So if we rotate that round, and then we can put that straight in there like that. And we can get our snipping tool, snip that, snip that. Okay. So we'll name that W5. group. And then all we need to do is do exactly that same process for each of these. It's a bit fiddly, but you can either use on the centre bit, you can use the trim function if that's your preference, or you can use nodes if that's your preference. But so what we've done is we've made W3, we've then made W4 and W5, and then it is just a matter of keep repeating that. And the thing is, if you've got if you're using the corner function where you can reduce or increase the size, you'll notice how it gets lower as well, so that the taper works in all directions. I'll just Control Z and send that back to where it was. So it works in all directions. So I hope that's been helpful, and in the next video we will be building up the main frame of the contestor, and you should see the whole frame completed along with the wing and the tail section. So look forward to seeing you then. Take care, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.